Another mystery buried deep in the hills of eastern Washington keeps resurfacing, a bottomless pit said to be a pathway to the paranormal.
When Joe Rogan revealed what a drone found at the bottom of Mel's Hole, the discovery was so terrifying that it changed everything we thought we knew about what lurks beneath our feet.
This landscape has no natural means to make a very deep hole.
For decades, this mysterious pit in Washington state,
have you guys ever heard of Mel's Hole?
Has swallowed everything that entered it without making a sound. Animals refuse to go near it. Equipment fails for no reason.
And if it was made artificially, there's got to be a heck of a lot of waste someplace that was dug out of that hole.
But when modern technology finally pierced the darkness of Mel's Hole, what the drone captured wasn't just strange. It was something that defied all explanation, something that shouldn't exist on Earth at all. The legend that started it all. Hidden deep in the hills of Washington state is a strange and mysterious place called Mel's Hole. It's not just any hole in the ground. It's so weird that it seems to break the rules of nature. The story of this Mel Hole first came to light back in 1997 when a man named Mel Waters called into a late-night radio show called Coast to Coast AM. Mel claimed that on his property near Ellensburg, there was a hole unlike anything else on Earth. He said he tried measuring it by dropping a fishing line with a heavy weight attached, and after using 80,000 feet of line, that's over 15 miles, he still never hit the bottom. But that wasn't the strangest part. Animals refused to go near the hole. Birds wouldn't fly over it. Equipment would malfunction when brought close to the edge. Radios crackled with weird static for no reason at all. Local people backed up Mel's story. They said the hole had been there for generations, long before Mel ever bought the land. Old-timers told stories of throwing garbage into it, only to hear nothing but silence. One man even claimed he threw in an entire refrigerator once. It never made a sound when it hit the bottom. What made this even more mysterious was that there were no official records of the hole existing. No geological surveys, no coordinates, and no mention in state land records. It was as if Mel's Hole existed in a place between reality and legend. But the man the hole had been named after was not satisfied with a poetic explanation. He wanted answers. But when he dug deeper, he realized that maybe, just maybe, some mysteries are better left unsolved. Mel's disturbing experiments. After discovering this impossible pit on his land, Mel Waters couldn't just ignore it. Like any curious person faced with the unknown, he started testing it. But what he found was far from normal. His first experiment was simple enough. He took a spool of fishing line, tied a weight to the end, and began lowering it into the darkness. He kept feeding the line, watching it disappear into the endless black. 1,000 feet, 2,000, 10,000. Still no resistance, no bottom. He estimated he dropped nearly 80,000 feet of line, and the weight just kept going. Nothing on Earth was supposed to be that deep, at least nothing natural. Next, Mel tried throwing objects in, glass bottles, rocks, even an old television set. Every single time he listened carefully, waiting to hear the crash or echo of something hitting the bottom. But it was always the same result, complete silence. It was like the hole didn't just swallow things, it erased them completely. Then things got much stranger. Whenever Mel brought radio equipment near the hole, it would start acting up, buzzing and glitching like the air itself was interfering with the signals. Word of the hole began to spread, and that's when other people started remembering things they had tried to forget. The real stories were just beginning to surface, and they would make Mel's experiments seem almost normal by comparison. A retired school teacher recalled hearing stories about the never-ending pit from her own grandfather. He had warned her and her siblings as children never to wander too far into the woods near Ellensburg.
I've been here for 23 years.
Many locals, however, are aware of the Mel's Hole mystery.
There's a place where the earth opens up, he used to say, and whatever goes in doesn't come out the same. A local hunter swore he once heard what sounded like grinding metal and low, rhythmic humming coming from below ground. It wasn't just eerie, it was mechanical, the kind of noise that had no business existing in the middle of nature, as if some ancient machine was turning deep beneath the earth. Others reported more personal effects from getting too close to the area. A young couple said they stumbled near the hole while hiking, not knowing what it was. Within minutes, they both felt completely disoriented. They said even the trees seemed to lean away from the hole as if the forest itself was trying to stay clear of whatever lay beneath. The stories alone were enough to chill anyone's blood, but none of these witnesses had any idea what modern technology would eventually uncover in those depths. Just when the mystery seemed too bizarre to get any stranger, rumors began surfacing about another hole, But this one wasn't in Washington. It was somewhere far off in the Nevada desert, and it shared terrifying similarities with Mel's discovery. The Nevada Connection. Just when Mel's Hole seemed like a one-of-a-kind mystery, reports started appearing about a second pit that was eerily similar. This time, it was located in the harsh, sun-baked landscape of rural Nevada. Locals whispered about a bottomless hole that had the same strange features as the one in Ellensburg. Animals stayed away, electronics went haywire, and the depth couldn't be measured. But unlike Mel's Hole, this Nevada pit wasn't discovered by a regular person. From the very start, it was surrounded by government presence and secrecy. The Nevada Hole first gained attention among conspiracy researchers who claimed it was located on or near restricted government land. Some pointed toward the edges of the infamous Area 51, where access is heavily controlled and surveillance never stops. What made the Nevada Hole even more interesting was the idea that it might not just be a copy of Mel's Hole. It could actually be connected to it. A few brave explorers suggested that the two holes were entry points to the same massive underground system, stretching for hundreds or maybe thousands of miles beneath the Earth's surface. Some called it a natural wonder. Others believed it was not of this world at all. Rumors grew stronger when leaked documents, whose authenticity could never be fully confirmed, hinted at military studies focused on unusual underground anomalies in Nevada. These papers mentioned unexplained radiation bursts and high-frequency sound patterns coming from deep within the Earth. There was no direct mention of Mel's Hole, but the similarities were impossible to ignore. And then there was the silence. To this day, there are no official maps marking the Nevada Hole. No news outlets have investigated it, and no scientists have been seen entering or leaving the area. But for the tight-knit community living near the site, there was an unspoken rule that everyone understood: don't ask questions, and don't go looking for it. One man, a former military contractor who refused to give his name, said it plainly in a rare interview: "It's there, they know it's there, but they'll never let you get near it." These connections added a terrifying new layer to the mystery. If there really was more than one Mel's Hole, maybe they were just the tip of something much larger, hidden deep underground, something that certain people wanted to keep secret from the rest of the world. But as these stories began to spread further, something happened to Mel Waters himself. He suddenly disappeared. Mel vanishes. After Mel Waters first called into Coast to Coast AM in February 1997, the world became fascinated with his story. But so did someone else. And just days after his broadcast went viral, Mel's life took a strange and frightening turn that would change everything. He vanished from public view for a period of time, only to reappear later with a chilling story. According to Mel, he had been detained by government officials and forced into silence. He claimed that men in unmarked uniforms arrived at his property shortly after his radio interview became famous. They gave him clear instructions to stop discussing the hole immediately. One man allegedly warned Mel that continuing to speak out would put lives at risk, including his own. Whether it was a threat or a promise, Mel understood the message loud and clear. Soon after, he began noticing signs of constant surveillance. His phone lines were tapped. He could hear the telltale clicks and static that meant someone was listening. Unfamiliar cars parked outside his home for hours at a time. Strangers followed him during routine trips to town. Even his neighbors noticed that Mel wasn't alone anymore. But whoever was watching him was never meant to be seen. The government then took direct action. They purchased the land where the hole was located, using vague legal justifications that didn't make much sense. Access to the area was immediately blocked off by armed guards. Local people who tried to approach were either turned away or warned not to return. Perhaps most strangely of all, Mel revealed that the government offered him a deal. They would cover the complete cost of relocating him to Australia. There were no conditions attached to this offer, provided he remained silent about what he had discovered. By the early 2000s, Mel made a few more appearances on Art Bell's radio show, most notably in 2000 and 2002. But each time they called him in, he sounded more cautious and guarded. It was clear that something fundamental had changed. He stopped sharing his findings and dodged direct questions. Since then, Mel Waters has completely vanished from public view. No one knows where he is or if he's even still alive. No scientific institution or official government records have ever revealed his whereabouts. It's as if the Earth swallowed not just the mysterious pit, but also the man who dared to talk about it. What it could never swallow was the curiosity around the hole, though. And soon enough, someone would take Mel's place in trying to solve this puzzling mystery. A new team forms. For years, the story of Mel's Hole remained buried, but after Mel's last radio appearance in 2002, Curiosity began stirring again among people who refused to let the mystery die. In 2008, a man named Gerald Osborne gathered a group of 30 people and led an expedition into the wild terrain near Ellensburg, Washington. Armed with old maps, radio transcripts, and word-of-mouth directions from longtime locals, they searched the area where Mel Waters had supposedly lived. But their search turned up absolutely nothing. There wasn't a single trace of the legendary pit anywhere. Even more unsettling, local news reporters digging into the story found no property records, utility bills, or tax documents bearing Mel Waters' name in Catitas County. It was as if he had never existed at all, as if someone or something had completely erased him from the map. Then, in 2024, everything changed dramatically. 3 experts came together to form what would become the most serious investigation into Mel's Hole that had ever been attempted.
Mel's Hole is a complex, very interesting mystery.
Dr. Philip Erasmus, a brilliant but reclusive geophysicist known for studying underground anomalies. Dr. Sarah Colin, a field archaeologist with a reputation for uncovering lost ruins in impossible places. And Dr. Lambert Marius, an environmental scientist famous for investigating ecological mysteries that other people couldn't explain. This team worked in secret, funded by private donors, and stayed completely off the radar. Their mission was simple in concept, but terrifying in practice: locate the legendary hole and uncover what really lay inside it. This wasn't some amateur group armed with flashlights and shovels. Their team included drone engineers, former military operatives skilled in reconnaissance missions, and even a whistleblower from the U.S. Geological Survey who had seen redacted documents referencing anomalous boreholes in both Washington and Nevada. Whatever was down there, it wasn't just a mystery anymore. It was a secret that someone had tried very hard to bury. The team prepared with incredible attention to detail. At the center of their plan was a custom-built drone equipped with high-resolution night vision cameras, seismic sensors, and a retractable sonar arm. The drone was specifically designed to descend to extreme depths while staying stable in narrow or shifting air columns. Radiation detectors, air quality monitors, and electromagnetic pulse shielding were installed to protect the equipment from the same strange forces. In case of signal loss, they rigged a backup tether system made from military-grade rope and magnetic reels. Every piece of technology was tested in caves and abandoned mines across the United States. They rehearsed emergency drills, built mobile command stations camouflaged to blend into the landscape, and moved only under cover of darkness. By spring 2024, the team was ready. The location they were heading to wasn't on any official map. It came from a handwritten note in the margins of an old researcher's papers, taken from a long-forgotten radio broadcast. It was a long shot, but they decided it was worth the risk. What they found there shocked every single member of the team. The descent into darkness. The operation began quietly under the cover of night to avoid any attention from authorities or curious onlookers. For the first 11,000 feet, the drone's cameras recorded exactly what they expected: a vertical shaft with walls that seemed to go on forever, with no bottom anywhere in sight. Then, at exactly 11,300 feet below the surface, something completely unexpected happened. The walls suddenly vanished. The drone had entered a vast underground chamber that was so enormous, its boundaries couldn't be seen even with the most powerful floodlights they had. What the cameras captured next left the entire team in shocked silence. Inside this massive chamber were stone structures, not just random rocks, but what clearly looked like architectural ruins. The drone recorded tall pillars, carved arches, and staircases leading off into the darkness. Everything was covered in thick layers of dust and overgrown with lichen, as if it had been untouched for thousands upon thousands of years. But the most shocking discovery of all was the symbols. Intricate carvings covered every single surface they could see. Some appeared similar to Mayan glyphs and Sumerian markings, but others were completely unrecognizable. No known language or ancient culture matched them exactly. And these weren't just decorative patterns. They looked like they actually meant something important. The underground city appeared to be completely empty. There were no signs of life, no movement, and no sound at all. But something about the careful layout of the chamber made it absolutely clear that this was not natural. It was artificial, created by intelligence, and built with a purpose. As the drone approached what appeared to be a massive stone gateway carved with a strange spiral design, the video feed began to flicker and distort. Static filled the screens. Then, without warning, there was a total blackout. Every single device connected to the drone went offline instantly. The backup systems failed. The signal was completely gone. Despite hours of desperate effort, the drone never responded again. What caused the disruption remains unknown to this day. Some team members believed it was electromagnetic interference from some unknown source. Others thought the drone might have accidentally triggered some kind of hidden mechanism or ancient defense system that was still active after all these centuries.
And if it was made artificially, there's got to be a heck of a lot of waste someplace that was dug out of that hole.
But one thing was absolutely certain. What the drone had captured was real. There was an ancient underground structure buried deep below the surface, covered with symbols that no one on Earth could explain. The team had found something incredible, but they had no idea they were about to face consequences they never could have imagined. What happened next would change their lives forever. The government steps in. Within hours of the drone's mysterious disappearance into the depths of Mel's Hole, something truly alarming happened. According to inside sources, unmarked black SUVs arrived at the expedition's remote base camp in the Washington wilderness. The vehicles carried armed men dressed in plain black gear with no visible insignia and no identification tags whatsoever. What followed felt like something straight out of a spy movie, only this time, it was all very real.
This landscape has no natural means to make a very deep hole.
The team was detained and questioned separately. All of their equipment, including hard drives, footage backups, sensors, and communication devices, was confiscated on the spot. No warrants were shown, and no explanations were given to anyone. The team members were told they had violated national security protocols, even though they had no ties to any government agency and had been working on private land. Some were even threatened with serious jail time if they ever spoke publicly about what they had discovered down in that hole. One of the drone engineers reported later, off the record, that agents warned them directly, "Forget what you saw or you'll wish you had." In the weeks that followed, Dr. Erasmus's entire online presence mysteriously disappeared. His professional website went offline without explanation. His LinkedIn and research profiles were completely deleted. Emails sent to his known addresses bounced back with user not found messages. Just like that, it was as if the man had never existed at all. Dr. Sarah Collin and Dr. Lambert Marius, the other two leaders of the mission, stopped responding to journalists and research collaborators entirely. Even their own family members refused to speak about them on the record when reporters came asking questions. But the most telling clue came from a single leak. It was one blurry 5-second screenshot showing a dimly lit stone chamber with towering pillars, clearly taken from the drone footage before it was confiscated. The image briefly appeared on an obscure conspiracy forum labeled simply "Recovered Drone Still." The screenshot was pulled down within 24 hours, and the user account that posted it was permanently deleted. Forum moderators later claimed that the thread had never existed in the first place. To this day, government agencies deny that any such operation ever took place. No official statements have been released. When questioned directly, officials simply say, "There is no such thing as Mel's Hole." But sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. Something incredible was found deep underground, and someone with serious power doesn't want the world to know about it.
And people get it confused with what I call the devil's hole.
The question that remains is simple but terrifying. What exactly lies in the depths of Mel's Hole? And why is the truth being buried so completely? The terrifying truth. For years, scientists, researchers, and conspiracy theorists have tried to explain what lies at the bottom of Mel's Hole, and what the underground city found by Dr. Erasmus and his team might really be. Every theory is more shocking and unsettling than the last. Could it be the remnant of a lost civilization that existed long before written history began? A civilization so ancient and advanced that its technology and architecture appear far beyond anything we can understand today? Some researchers have linked the discovery to Native American legends, specifically stories about the people below, ancient beings who lived deep underground, hiding from the world above. Others point to the hollow Earth theory, which suggests that entire civilizations exist inside our planet, completely separate from life on the surface. The discovery of a strange underground city with unknown symbols and bizarre architecture adds fuel to this idea. Alien theorists have their own explanation. They believe the city could be of extraterrestrial origin, either built directly by beings from other worlds or constructed by ancient Earth civilizations under alien influence. The advanced knowledge shown in the stone carvings and symbols could be evidence of contact with intelligence far beyond our own. But the most chilling detail of all was revealed during a live program on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it changed everything. According to sources close to the investigation team, one piece of drone footage survived the government confiscation. This single clip, lasting only a few seconds, showed something that nobody was prepared for. Deep within that ancient chamber, the drone's cameras captured movement in the water that had collected at the bottom of the underground city. What emerged from those dark waters was an aquatic humanoid creature, unlike anything known to science. It had glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness and textured skin that appeared almost reptilian. The being moved with intelligence and purpose, as if it had been waiting in those depths for countless centuries. When Joe Rogan shared this revelation with his audience, the reaction was immediate and intense. The clip has since disappeared completely from the internet, removed within hours of being mentioned on the podcast. But those who saw it described a creature that seemed both ancient and aware, something that had been living in the depths of Mel's Hole all along. This explains why the government moved so quickly to shut down the investigation. This explains why Mel Waters was silenced, and why Dr. Erasmus's team was threatened. They hadn't just discovered an ancient city, they had found evidence of something living down there. Something that challenges everything we think we know about life on Earth. The truth about Mel's Hole isn't just about mysterious depths or ancient ruins. It's about the discovery that we are not alone, and that some things have been sharing our planet far longer than we ever imagined. The terrifying reality is that these creatures might still be down there, waiting in the darkness, in holes scattered across the world. What Joe Rogan revealed about the bottom of Mel's Hole shows us that some discoveries are too dangerous for the world to handle. But now you know the truth, and that truth is more terrifying than anyone dared to believe. What do you think about what was found at the bottom of Mel's Hole? Have you ever heard strange stories about mysterious holes in your area? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.